Hi all, my name is Gaurav, and in this video we'll talk about whether JavaScript language is synchronous or asynchronous. So before starting this conversation, we'll understand what's the synchronous or asynchronous means. So synchronous means basically, let's say you have a 10 lines of code. If that code is executing synchronously, so it means once first line will finish execution, then second line will execute. Once second line finish execution, then the third line will execute. So that is a synchronous execution. So I have a code in the JavaScript, very simple code. So here I am printing the statement synchronous execution starts. Then I am calling this function simulate blocking callback function. Okay. And what basically it does, whatever time, this is a parameter time in millisecond. If I am passing 4000 millisecond means it will wait for 4 seconds or 4000 milliseconds, then this function will execute. So if this is happening, it will execute, then it will wait for 4 seconds and then this will execute. It means it is synchronous. Another scenario, if you execute this code, this is executing, this execution complete, then this execution comes in picture, which is a kind of time consuming execution. And in sometimes we say it's a blocking execution because it is blocking execution of subsequent line of code, which are after this. Now, if we have a mechanism, okay, this executed. Now this is a time consuming code. So, okay, you do your work on in parallel and meanwhile I'll execute this. So that's a asynchronous. Nothing, things are not in sequence whenever we require. The time consuming task or blocking code, which is blocking the subsequent calls, subsequent code to execute. We say, okay, you are a blocking code, you do your work in parallel, and meanwhile, we are executing code which is after you. So that's a asynchronous. Now, how JavaScript behaves, let's see. So I am executing this code. This code is in a JS sync or async.js file. I am executing this code. So how it should behave? In my opinion, it will execute this first and it will print synchronous execution starts. Then it will wait for 4 seconds and then it will print this call stack is empty now. So let's see. It immediately printed this. Now it went inside this, it printed this, it waited, then it printed. I hope you observed, or let me make this more. Time will execute again. Okay, it printed this, it immediately went to this function and it printed this. Now it started waiting for 10 seconds. Then it will come from while loop, out of while loop, and it printed this. And finally it printed this. Means things are executing in sequence. So it proves that JavaScript is a synchronous language. We executed it on terminal. Let's see how it will behave in a browser. If JavaScript is a synchronous language, what would be implication on the browser? So I have simply created a file, a simple HTML file where I have a button and then I have two paragraphs. Okay, and this JavaScript file. So basically Java is, how do we embed the JavaScript in browser HTML code using script tag. So in script tag, I say, okay, this is the source. You need to refer this JavaScript code. Okay, now in this JavaScript code, I have this function, simulate blocking callback function. What I'll do, I'll say here simulate blocking callback function. I'll say, okay, on this button, whose text is start blocking operation for 8 seconds, and I am calling this function over here. And parameter I am passing here 8000 milliseconds. Okay, so let's see how this will look like, this HTML page. So this is the HTML page. This is the button start blocking operation, and these are the two lines I have written. Okay, so these lines are, I can click on those lines, I can select those lines. Okay, so this is happening. Now let's go here. It is saved. What I'll do, I'll click on inspect. I'll go to console. I'll just clear it, everything. And what I'll do currently, this is enable. I can, browser is enable. Now what I am anticipating, once I'll click on this, so because it, what is the function inside that? It is saying once I click on this application, I need to execute a function which will wait for 8 seconds. So for 8 seconds, this browser will freeze if JavaScript is synchronous. If it is not synchronous, it will not freeze. So let's see. Okay. As soon as I click on this button, what will happen? I have what I mentioned, on clicking on this button, whose text is start blocking operation 8 second, which we can see on screen, start blocking operation 8 second. When I click on this function, this button, you need to execute this function. And what this function is nothing, but it is saying that if you pass 8000 millisecond in the parameter, it will wait for 8 millisecond. What it will do? It will execute, it will print immediately this start blocking for 8000 millisecond, and then it will wait for 8000 millisecond, and then it will print this. So that's what this function is doing. This function should get executed on this, on the click of that particular button. Okay, so let's see what happens. If I currently, again we'll see this is enabled. Keep an eye on console. We'll see. Start blocking for 8000 millisecond. It executed. Now if I try to, okay, it finished. Probably we will increase the weight here. I'll say 20,000 millisecond, and I'll here just say 20, just to demonstrate the behavior. Okay, again we'll start. Currently this is enabled. Wait a moment. One moment. I think I need to make it, I need to comment it here. Okay. Why? Because I have given a source over here. If source is here, so whenever this page loads, it will try to execute all this JavaScript file, and it may freeze my browser because of execution of this function. But what my intention is, I need this function should be executed only when I click on this particular button. So that is why I commented this. Okay, and I'll just click on this. Okay, this is my page. Currently, page is enabled. If I click on this button, I clicked on this button. So this statement printed, which came from here. Start blocking. Now if I see, so this is everything is blocked for the 20 seconds. As soon as that it comes out of while loop, my browser would be enabled. Blocking finished. So now I can execute. So that's a problem if it's synchronous and you click on some button, you perform some task, like I clicked on this button. So this is a time intensive task. It froze my whole browser, and that's a bad user experience. Yeah, but Anyway, JavaScript works in that way. It's a synchronous language. So that is why our browser froze. Yeah, so we can conclude in the by this behavior. So I was reading this, I was trying this. So what I concluded that JavaScript is synchronous and the single threaded and blocking means it's a synchronous we saw. Single threaded means it's a because it's a single threaded, that is why it is synchronous. We have only one thread to execute it. So whenever any operation comes with the on Java script, it executes in the sequence because JavaScript has only one thread. So basically, if we need to see the graphical representation how it does work, let me put in a slideshow. So I have this code. This is my function. Okay, till now this is my function, and I have this console.log synchronous execution starts. Then I am calling this function. It behaves in the same way like we were talking, simulate blocking callback function for 1000 milliseconds. So basically it will wait for 4 seconds, and then console.log it is printing call stack is empty. So basically what JavaScript has a main thread, and this main thread works on a stack. So whatever code we have written, it goes in a stack. Okay. So obviously first code is on the top, which is the first line of code. Synchronous execution starts. It is on the top, and after that we have a call of this function. Then this function call came, and then call stack is empty. Now this is we are again printing on the console. So these are the three calls this code has. So this is my main thread. When I say main thread nothing. Understand in a simpler way, like this is a main thread, all the code would be executing. So what will happen? First, this code would execute. And once this code would, this synchronous execution starts, this code would execute. And once this execution completes, it will be removed from the stack, something like that. Executed, removed. Now this function will execute. It will keep waiting, and then it will be removed. Then it will keep executing, and this will be removed. Now finally this call stack would be empty. So basically JavaScript follows a concept of call stack. All the code would be go in a stack, and one by one it would be popped off from this call stack. And this is on the main thread. So that is how JavaScript code works. And core JavaScript is always synchronous and single threaded. Now next video we'll talk about how in the current scenario developer makes the code asynchronous. Okay, we'll talk about what is asynchronous and how the developers achieve that. Thank you. I think you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to comment on the video in case more information is required.